Gaza.
Oh, they were.
Gaza. That's not Africa.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He said magnums.
Goat skin.
Oh.
Goat skin. Goat skin condoms.
Our new press secretary, who is awesome, by the way, in her 20s. Jeff, find her name. On the spot. What's her name?
Hold on.
What's her name?
Oh, wait. He knows it.
What's her name?
What's it start with?
I have no idea. I think it starts with a K.
No, it's
I think it starts with a
Penelope.
no, I just saw it.
Caroline Levitt.
Levitt.
Caroline Levitt.
Caroline with a K.
Caroline with a K.
So I knew the last name.
Caroline Levitt.
Yeah.
27-year-old press secretary, youngest press secretary ever.
She's smart.
Yep, is very, very intelligent and they're
so extremely well spoken and put together. I mean, she's just
she's got a
the difference
tough job too.
So the difference there than the last one is she goes to the podium with almost no notes. Because you remember the last one that we had?
Oh yeah.
Corrine, Kate, whatever her name was, the curly hair.
Yeah. The one that literally would
lesbian
who said top of mind a million times.
Yeah, top of mind. Everything's top of mind.
Yeah.
So she would come with this big old binder. And then it was all like it was divided by topic. And she, as soon as they would start asking the question, she would just flip her binder to that topic and just read what was on her binder for that topic, not answer the question most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time she would just dodge it.
She would just read whatever, like she had a bullet, like a 2-sentence bullet on every topic.
She'd be like, well, we're getting to that and we're going to inform the people and just never
and
get
we
to
will
it.
circle back and
circle back.
And it is top of mind.
Jen Psaki.
Yeah,
that's what she always said.
Circle back.
Circle back.
Yeah.
We're going to circle back to
Yeah, it's top of mind. The other one was top of mind, and you know we've already answered this, and it is blah 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 blah.
Well, she was defending Biden on that when he called, like, he congratulated somebody that was already dead or something like that.
Oh no, he called her out in the room.
He called it. Yeah, he was like, "Where is she?" Yeah,
it's like she's been dead for 2 months.
Yeah, she's been dead forever,
been gone.
And yeah, she said, she was top of mind. Like, she literally, I think, had to hit a certain amount of times that she said it so that's all people remembered.
Yeah, there's been so many instances of like corporate buzzword speak and things like that.
The psychology behind it, dude.
that I've dealt with in the last week. I started doing it on a call. Just it was mandate was the word. And so I mandated a mandate. I was like, listen, I understand we're mandating mandates here, but this is what it's actually happening. I went full into the corporate buzzword speak mandate. But anyways, what she comes to the podium with little to no notes. Doesn't reference them at all, and just and she's mentioned that at the very, like, on either a first one or an interview right before. She's like, no, because I know the policies of the president and I know where he stands, and this is what I believe, and this is I don't have to look at notes to know what our stance is, and I know, super intelligent, and there's 3 blondes, and I think 2 of the 3's name starts with the K. So
conservatives do it right.
Yeah, and like the third one has 2 first names. It's like Mary Kate or something, Mary Grace, Anna Grace, Grace. Something very, very white, name. But there's 3 blondes. They're calling them like the blonde bomb squad that just is on our press corps right now and just running it, brother. They are doing such a good job. And good
all
for
3
them.
of their names start with a K?
2 of the 3.
I was about to say, that'd be kind of weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. They probably had a third that did start with K and then changed her out.
Bitch, no.
Because we can't do 3. We can do 2. We can't do 3. So hey,
a little weird.
One of y'all
We're going to
go.
let you figure out why. Okay.
Yeah, Kim, Karen, Kristen, Catherine, one of you guys have to go.
Yeah, somebody's got to go.
We need a Susan. Or,
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, and so they went very stereotypical 2 first names. So that's where they went.
But one of the things that they talked about. She's been very. You're right about her not having a lot of notes, and she's very. she's just very well put together. They're trying so hard to rattle her.
Yeah.
These seasoned reporters, and man, she's just so smooth.
It's not working.
Did you see where they're going to give podcasters
a seat?
Press? Yeah.
I think we
press
should
passes
sign up
or something like that.
Yeah. So
you can apply.
Can we do that?
Yeah, we can apply.
We can apply.
Yeah, we can apply, and so
Well, that would be cool.
they have assigned seat, and I didn't
Go
realize
through like
that.
a background check and all.
How
that.
long do you think it would take before they just kick us out?
We'd have to
Sit
play
in it,
by some rules.
Yeah, need to probably to wear suits.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
I'll borrow one of y'all's.
yeah, I got one you can borrow. I
just
didn't
sit in
realize they
different
had
spots.
assigned seat. No, they have assigned seats in the press room.
There goes that.
So there was just 3 seats off to the right that used to be reserved for like staffers, press corps staffers.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't take away any seats of the reporters. They took away some staffers' seats and said these seats are now going to be new media, I think is what they were calling it.
They're very transparent.
Yeah,
They're being very transparent. They're being very open.
Are y'all sure she's 27?
Yeah, she's
She's in
married.
her 20s.
She's 27. She's married to a 60-year-old.
Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Really?
She looks
Yeah.
a little weathered, buddy. I mean, she's hot, but I mean, she looks.
She's
a
not
little
really
weathered.
hot. She's what she
She's hot
does
like
and
a
the way she
business
carries
suit
herself
kinda
makes her
way.
hot.
Yeah, in a business suit kind of way.
But tagging on to that,
On the hot part.
well, no, just on the whole government thing of some of the things that have been a little bit of a switch here. But all right, so DOGE, which is the Department of Government Efficiency with being headed up by Elon. So one of the things I wanted to know was, what exactly have they found? Because I've heard, everybody talk. The big one has been this $50 million worth of condoms being sent to Gaza, and
It was it and something else simultaneously that they
but
found.
and I think that my understanding is they were using the condoms. I heard they were using them for something. They were being used for some other use other than what they're made for.
Really?
So on paper it was 4 condoms, but
No, they were really
using it.
No, they were really condoms.
They were
but they were
condoms,
using
is
them
my
for
understanding. But
something else.
I heard they were being used for something else. Like
What
they were.
else can you use condoms for?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But that's
That's
just.
a lot of sex, though. $50 million.
But
in
get
condoms.
this. But as a whole, get this. In the first 80 hours, listen to this.
Right.
DOGE has canceled $420 million in government contracts.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's wild.
So basically, that puts them on track. That's 3% of the goal, which Elon's goal was $67 billion. He's trying to cut out of the government waste. And I love this concept because if you think about it, I kind of feel like you could apply that. I almost feel like we need a DOGE. I feel like every company, no matter how big you are, I wish my company that I worked for would create a DOGE department.
Waste.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
corporate waste.
And you could even do that in your own home, in your own budget, right? You could do that in your own household.
Right.
Let's see if we can identify things that we are wasting money on. Things that are just absolutely unneeded, unwarranted, that are just they're waste. And I think if everybody did that, how much more efficient would the country be, would our companies be, would our homes be?
Absolutely.
You think about that. I mean, we waste a lot of money. I started thinking about that with my own budget. I'm thinking, God, man, I waste a bunch of money on stupid stuff.
Yeah. You definitely could. You could dive deep into that on just about everything. To be honest, I'm trying to find this. I'm not trying to ignore y'all. I'm trying to find this. The news story on the whatever $50 million it was on the condom.
Yeah, it gets a little gray.
Yeah, I'm not real sure what that was about.
Well,
but
there was something else that they got with it.
Yeah, $30 million for something else.
Something like that.
They mentioned 2 things back to back.
Damn it.
well,
I thought I had it right here.
and going back to what's her name, Caroline Levitt.
Yeah. Yes.
The greatest line all week was the reporter that asked the female reporter, and she asked her, said, of the 1,100 people that ICE has deported, how many of these people had a criminal record? And just immediately she said, all of them. All of them.
Oh, because they're here illegally.
Because
They're here illegally.
Yeah.
And that, she said, I know that with the past administration that was not that wasn't the thing to say, but
right. Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
Is they're all criminals.
Right.
So, and I'm so tired of hearing this narrative about that Trump hates immigrants and this country was built with immigration, with immigrants. I'm like, yeah, but there were people who went through it the right way. There were people that were legal. The people that, if you go back to the 1800s and 1700s, and you say, well, these people that came over, they built this country. Well, yeah, they did, but they built it legally. They were not pouring in illegally. And I know we keep talking about that on every episode, but it's so true. There's not a country in this world that you can just go marching in.
No.
And just do what you want to and stay in that country.
My only thing on it is that I hope that they pay, like, there's a lot of work to be done, so I hope it's just not blanketed too much, because at some point it's not going to do them any good to have a lot of kind of in the same concept of wasteful spending, but not necessarily in spending. It's more of like a humanitarian issue. Like, that can get really out of hand really quick, and all the people that aren't criminals, I know they're criminals because they're here illegally, but the people that aren't straight up gang members and people that actually could be useful in our society, the ones that are just starting families and stuff like that, they're going to get lumped into it. And there just needs to be an effort made to be able to filter those people out as much as possible.
Agreed.
And just necessarily sorry.
But don't you think that those people should make an effort to be here the correct way?
Yes,
absolutely.
I agree.
I mean, they can't.
I don't think it's an either or.
Yeah, they can't just expect to come here and reap all the benefits, but yet not go through the proper protocol and procedures to be an American citizen.
Well, but you can solve a lot of that through our tax plan.
Yes.
Like if we could eliminate the income tax and have a more of a sales tax, everybody paying taxes now.
Well, and
drug dealers,
did you see
immigrants.
Did you see Trump's comment? This could be huge, but he made a comment about, he was referring back to the 1870s. Okay, during this portion of American history, and I'm not a history buff, so I probably messed this up, but basically there was a time where, relatively speaking, America was the wealthiest. Right? This is our wealthiest time. This was when we prospered the most. Well, you got to remember that the federal income tax didn't really take place, I think, until 1913. I think that's right. Early 1900s at some point.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was no federal income tax.
1913, yeah.
And America made its money through tariffs.
Right.
And he made a comment, and a lot of people were speculating that was Trump hinting at doing away with the federal income tax? Because what he said was, he said, we should not be taxing the American people to make other countries rich. We should be taxing other countries to make the American people rich.
Yeah.
And what's happening is that through our federal tax, through the tax that we pay, we're shipping billions of dollars to other countries. So in essence, that ought to piss you off as an American citizen.
No, it should be definitely something you'd be willing to fight for.
That we're sitting here working our ass off, and we're pumping all this money that goes through bureaucrats, right? We vote these people in, and all this goes to the federal government. And then they're turning around and they're spending this money overseas. They're giving it to people who are undeserving that have nothing to do with me or you, right? It doesn't benefit me or you one bit if they send $1 billion to Ukraine to help them fight off the Russians. Absolutely has nothing to do with me.
No, because there's plenty of other ways where we could spend $100 million and intervened however we wanted to.
Right. So what I'm saying is, hey, well, look at Dubai. Look at all these other places where these people are wealthy. They don't have more resources than we do.
Right.
It's just that we're taking it all from the American citizens. There's no reason why America shouldn't have. We shouldn't have a pothole in the country. We shouldn't have an unpaved road in the country. Yeah. We shouldn't have one hungry mouth in this entire country. We shouldn't have people living in poverty. We shouldn't have people living in shacks. We shouldn't have people living on the streets.
No,
and it shouldn't be, and it also shouldn't be coming from our own tax dollars.
Right.
It should be coming from tariffs and taxes on other countries. There is no reason why this country should be so in debt and yet we claim to be the most prosperous country in the world, and we're so heavily taxed. Quit taxing us. Yeah. Turn it around and put it on these other countries.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he can do that. I mean,
just quit taxing my income. Like, start there.
Yeah, start with a sales tax. Start with a service and sales tax.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I'd be good with that.
Yeah.
If you don't want to pay less taxes, buy less shit.
I mean, he's already, how many IRS workers did he fire?
A lot, but he also, did you see that he
84,000 originally?
Something crazy.
He sent out a potential buyout to 2 million government employees.
I saw that.
Yeah, he told them either quit, retire, or be fired.
Yeah,
but he offered like however many months pay worth of pay.
8 months severance. Worth of pay. But in the letter, it wasn't a quit. It wasn't necessarily a quit, retire, or get
That was
fired.
A separate issue.
Yeah,
but he did offer that to a bunch of them. He did,
but he sent it like a blanket severance package. All they had to do to accept it was reply yes to the email, or reply retire to the email. That's all they had to do from their government email. But I saw someone that was talking about it, and she said, she gave reasons to take it and reasons not to take it if you were a government employee, and some of her takes were pretty good. I mean, I enjoyed it, but one of the things she said on reasons to take it is because she said they are telling you right now, just by how many people they offered this to, how many people they're looking to get rid of out of the government. They're looking to decrease by at least 2 million. So if you don't take it, just understand that they're still looking to decrease, and if you got that email that you are blanketed in, so you may not have a job anyway. And she said, if you don't take this, the next offer when they do lay you off and fire you, it will not be like this. It will not be this generous.
Okay, have y'all seen Beast Games? I know that sounds weird. With Mr. Beast?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trump is playing Beast Games with the entire U.S. federal government employees, which is awesome.
Yeah, but but in reverse almost. The Mr. Beast stuff usually gets more money as it kind of goes.
Not all of them. That's why I say, like, on me and Dominic watch them. We love them. So they'll have like moments where they're like, all right, this is so you can keep going, right, and try to win the $5 million. Or you can take this buyout right now. Yeah. Right?
It's like deal or no deal.
Kind of. Yeah, it is kind of like deal or no deal. And they'll be like, but that isn't guaranteed that your next offer is going to be this.
It'll be more.
It'll be maybe more, maybe less. You may be, up to be eliminated, that kind of thing. Right?
Yeah, because there still may be an elimination
they sit there
aspect to it.
Yeah, it's very Squid Game.
Oh, I think I got this mixed up. It was senior FBI officials were asked to resign, retire, or be fired. Yeah, you had three options, and that was he's cleaning house.
Yeah,
in the FBI.
Those are guys that are just coasting. Yep.
He's pissed off at the FBI.
Well, because, I'm sure, but that's an easy target right there because those guys are just coasting. You can justify it.
And Kash Patel, do you guys watch any of his confirmation hearings?
Yeah, he's slick.
He's good. He's really good. But
when Adam Schiff was hammering him. And what did he say? Bring it on, or let it roll, or let it ride, or something. He said something.
That's
funny. Or get with it, or or something. He said some little comment that basically to him like bring it on. Let's hear it.
Was this him in front of the Senate?
Yeah. Confirmation hearings. And he was basically. He was just trying to pick Kash apart, saying all these things about his loyalty to law enforcement, and he said, I've got the support of 300,000 police officers. He said, go ask them. Go ask them what they think. And
Tulsi too. Tulsi's going through her confirmation.
They look so weak how they're trying to do things, and Tulsi's was the most horrific.
The quote that she had about it was hit so hard when she said something to the effect of, you guys have accused me of being a puppet for Russia. You've accused me of being a puppet for China. The only problem here is you're mad that I'm not a puppet for you. I was like, oh my God. Get it, Tulsi.
She's tough.
She is.
Hell yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
She's definitely holding her own. But
but they're it's so aggressive.
And RFK too. Like they are just
when he told
them through
did you see him and Bernie Sanders? And they were talking about the big pharma.
Yes.
I didn't see it, but
Dude, he called Bernie out, and he told Bernie, he said, Bernie, you were the number one benefactor of big pharma companies in 2020. He said, you took more money than anybody. Oof. And Bernie was like, no. He's like, I was running for president, and these were this and that. He said, no. He said, don't try to clean it up. Yeah. He said, you took more money than anybody.
Yeah.
And he just hammered them. But basically said,
pardon Fauci. Don't worry about it.
Oh God!
Like pardon Fauci, but y'all are going to sit here and crucify RFK for, and trying to lump him in with conspiracy. Still trying to use the conspiracy theory podcast model of attack, where they're just trying to lump him in with all these different people. Why? Because he went and talked and had conversations with a bunch of different types of people. Like y'all were all for him 6 months ago.
Was it?
They were his friend.
Y'all were all for him and backing him 6 months ago.
Was it Kennedy, the one from Louisiana, the senator?
Yeah.
That said something about he mentioned conspiracy theories. And he said something to the effect of, that everything that maybe we need a more conspiracy theories, because all the ones that we have turned out to be true. So we don't have conspircy theories anymore. That all turned out to be true.
That's the problem with them, is a lot of them turn out to be true. And he's a good example of a senator that would he'll put you through it in front of him, but he'll ask you, let you sit there and respond. Dismantle it, ask you again, watch you try to do the same thing again, dismantle it, and then after that, he's going to stop you if you keep going down the same road. He'll ask you, and then he'll go and do it. So I'm going to ask you again, and then when they start talking, if they start down the same, rhetoric or the same, tactics of just talking, then he'll stop. Nope, that's not what I'm asking you. And then these people weren't doing that at all. They literally, Tulsi, are you a blah, blah, blah?
Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Like, that's not yes or no. Well, I'm going to continue then.
She's literally going.
She's trying. She's going.
Okay.
There was one of the Kash Patel things was that really jumped out to me. They were asking him about his the federal grand jury testimony, and he said, well, will you? Trying to get him to answer questions about his federal grand jury testimony. And he said, the answer you're asking me to give is a very big answer, and it will not fit in this time and will be taken out of context. He said, what I am asking you to do, he said, just declassify my federal grand jury testimony. Declassify all of it. Yeah. And they're like, well, that's not, you can tell us. You're not bound by law to not tell us. He's like, no. He said, I'm not answering you. Declassify my entire testimony. Yeah. Just declassify all of it. You want your answer, declassify all of it.
That's hilarious.
And so that went back and forth. And he's like, I'm not answering this question, but of one little thing, did I say these words, these specific words? He said, I'm not answering it. You can have your answer. Declassify my entire testimony, my 300,000 word testimony, or whatever. He knew exactly how many words he said.
Right.
Declassify all of that, and your answer will be there.
Tulsi clapped back on the same kind of way with they were trying to bring up something she said on a podcast, and she explained, she was like, well, yeah, that was a very small part of a very big conversation, and it's taken out of context.
Yeah,
like that was a very long conversation, and you're taking this one part out of it, and you're trying to frame it as something else. And out of our Senate, like, are we doing, like, this is clearly not an effort to get the best people in the position. I would respect it more.
They're trying to save face.
Yeah. I would respect it more if you came at them with, like, something significant.
Yes.
And then let them respond and sit there and have an actual
debate
instead of just trying to ring them through it, making a spectacle of the whole.
I'll tell you,
there's stupid.
There is an interview that you guys need to watch if you haven't seen the whole thing, but it was between CNN's Jake Tapper,
yes,
and Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is basically he was deputy chief of staff for Trump, and it's Jake Tapper is known for being very liberal, very far left. Just he's a CNN whack job, and you got to watch this interview. It literally, Stephen Miller you're talking about getting outfoxed. I mean, it was a train wreck. It literally, Jake Tapper looked like a fool. I mean, absolutely a fool. And you just got to watch the whole thing. But
yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I was going to read you one little snippet from it, and he said, just listen to this. He said, Tapper was clarifying whether Trump's sudden order to halt funding for grants and loans would affect free school lunches when Miller decided to raise a different point. Quote, I really want to drill down on this, Jake, because it's so important. There's 2 million employees in the federal government. Overwhelmingly, the career federal service in this country is far left wing, end quote. When Tapper countered that he did not know that to be a fact, Miller said, quote, 98% of USAID employees donated to either Harris or other left-wing candidates in the last election, end quote. Tapper said, but now you're demonizing an entire workforce as having, and Miller said, whoa. Did you just say that someone who voted for Kamala Harris is demonizing them?
Ironic.
And Tapper reported that Miller was suggesting there's a bias among federal workers. And he said, no, you used the word demonizing. You just said that I am demonizing somebody by saying they voted for Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. And at that point, Tapper tried to get the interview back on track, but Miller had just one more thing to say. He said, I am on track. Let me stay on track. And so that's just kind of how it started. Mm-hmm. And it was like that the whole time.
Damn.
You got to watch the whole interview. It's incredible. Because he basically, he also talked about, what was the other thing he said? My mind just slipped me, but he kept turning it back on Jake Tapper, basically saying,
yeah,
he just kept catching himself in lies.
Right.
But yeah,
well, it's easy to keep talking them back the other way, like, because they're not fighting, they're not arguing from a place of.
Oh, he was talking about
like being genuine or having an actual,
Yeah,
take.
he was talking about the ICE deportations is what it was. That's what Jake Tapper was talking about. And he was basically trying to say that we're going to be losing all these, we're going to be losing these farm workers, right? These middle of America, Kansas, these farm workers and stuff. And he said, no. He said, the majority of the people that we're targeting live in major urban cities.
Yeah.
They are government dependent.
Yeah.
They are on drugs. They are in gangs. Mm-hmm. We're not going after the onion picker in South Georgia, who is.
No, that one has just struck me as like the weakest sauce that you could try to make out of this argument. Like, they're going after the farmers and they're going like, come on, guys.
That's not what they're going after.
They're not going after. And even if they were, like,
well, if they're illegal,
like, even if they were, it's like, I'm sure we'll figure it the fuck out.
There's just so much going on right now. It's almost, I was thinking about this last night. I was watching. I know we're going to get to it, but this whole thing about this other plane crash in Philadelphia, mm-hmm. and it's just like there's so much major news that keeps getting hitting the screens, right? And it's easy just to forget something that happened just 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 mm-hmm. days ago. I mean, we haven't really even covered the whole, what was it, the Blackhawk helicopter and the airplane that collided over the Potomac?
Yeah.
That's major news, right?
It is. Right.
And then 2 days later, we have another plane crash.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, wait a minute. Did we forget about Diddy? Did we forget about Ukraine? Did we forget about Hamas? Did we forget about the ICE raids? I mean, it's just like,
just can't keep up with everything.
Just pick your poison, man. I mean, you just can
pick your issue and stay on.
Yeah, I mean, it's constant.
It is a lot, and it gets views,
and it's a little. It's sad though that. Was it 67, 72 people died?
67 is what
67, I think, died. It was everyone. It was everyone on the plane and the helicopter both.
Right. And what are they attributing? Have they said what they?
I think it's just. I think it's just a mistake. Error. It was an accident. Now,
well, the airplane would have been on its normal.
Yeah, the helicopter
descent. I think the helicopter was way out of airspace
where it shouldn't have been.
Right.
But again, it was an accident, and I think. Let me just say that it deserves deserves to be investigated. It deserves to have answers. But where I will I will deviate from the right now, and like I don't think now is the time to use it and propagandize it as DEI hires, which I've heard a lot since it happened. And
as a political weapon, basically.
No,
like
there's
making use of a tragedy.
67 people died.
Yeah,
there was
families affected,
without there's lawyers that are there. And I think that's something that we did well with 9/11. There was a lot of times where, around immediately after 9/11 for a couple of years where, the one radio station, and I don't remember which one it was, but on the anniversary every year, they would read the names of everyone that died of 9/11, and they would just read through them. 67 people died. It's not time to blame they were all white too, by the way. There were no DEI hires that were involved in this particular thing. Are there out there? Yeah, sure. Could it be a problem? Absolutely could be a problem. Is it all these things absolutely could be true. It's still not the time.
Right.
Immediately after this accident, this tragedy.
But that also, Mark, speaks to the how numb we have become to tragedy.
It's sad,
but it's that way with everything.
But I don't like it.
So the plane crash last night, right? It had a young, well, they don't know how old, but we just know it was a pediatric patient,
6 years old.
She was 6.
6 years old.
Okay.
Helicopter.
Had just received some life, saving measures in Philadelphia. Was with her mom. Was on this plane with.
Helicopter.
No, it was a plane.
No, it was a medical helicopter.
It was a Learjet.
Is there another one?
Maybe.
They said it was a Learjet.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I heard it was a Lear. I heard it was a 55-foot Learjet. It was a Lear 55.
Wait, are y'all talking about the same crash though?
No, we're talking about. What are you talking about? I'm talking about
Philadelphia.
The one, yeah, it was a Learjet.
Okay, it was a plane. Okay,
but it was a medical. And supposedly these people were from Mexico. They were Mexican nationals that had came here to the U.S. for this, the little girl.
Oh, to get this
treatment in Philadelphia, whatever it was, and they were flying them home, and that's terrible. That's sad, right? I mean, I agree, and that, but it's
so. Here's what I would hate to happen, which on the right or the left, is to use that particular instance to say, and this is what some people probably have already done it. Some people already said it. We shouldn't have we shouldn't have Mexicans in our country, for treatments. They're taking treatments away.
That was actually my next point.
They're taking treatments away from American. It's stupid.
No,
it's tragic.
Sure, it is tragic.
I didn't like it when Democrats did some of that.
Sure,
I don't like it when Republicans do it. Stop politicizing tragedies. Stop politicizing things that should be respected and reverenced.
Do you think that
we're losing it? Like on both sides, we're losing it.
Yeah,
Republicans,
they're
losing it.
They have to be careful of not swinging in their version of the woke.
Yeah,
right?
and look, here's to the Democrats,
an extreme left or extreme right.
Yeah, to the Democrats, because I have Facebook friends that are Democrats that. For the last, for the 4 years and first years of Trump, and then the 4 years since then, that they've went all in on Trump and all these conspiracy theories and all these things on, that Trump's trying to do this, Trump's trying to do that, Trump's trying to do this, and that now it's like they all of a sudden when anything comes against Biden, you guys are just doing it. They completely flipped roles now.
It's a double standard.
It's like, just stop.
Well, the ones that irritate me are the ones that have been quiet for the past 4 years.
Yeah, all of a sudden,
then now all of a sudden you're back with an opinion.
You were
it's
off,
like,
you were
no.
You were on.
Yeah, if you're not going to be critical of both, I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Be balanced. Be critical of consistency in everything that you're doing.
Do y'all feel like the helicopter, the Blackhawk helicopter? Do y'all think any of that was a diversion? You think there was anything
like it was like an attack?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But, I don't know
when I
why
heard
the
about the
pilots
second one, I started to get nervous.
I can't imagine the pilots would sacrifice themselves. But
Well, no, but I mean, like, it's like that.
Were they told that they were clear?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like the shipping boat that came into Boston. Like,
Yeah,
Boston?
whatever happened to that deal?
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Don't know.
There was just like a bridge taken out. Infrastructure was
Yesterday's
changed.
news.
Yeah.
It's yesterday's news. That's what I'm saying, man. It's just yesterday's news.
And especially with that, because the
In a month from now, we won't even be talking about these plane wrecks.
because nobody died in the ship.
That's right.
You know,
Right.
nobody died there, so it's easier even to forget that.
Right, yeah.
You know, this is obviously a little harder because there are 67 families that are affected, and 67 people that died. Let's not lose sight of that. You know, let's not. You know, I love all those people. I you know, as humanity, we should.
They're going to do to yesterday's news, torch it.
As humanity, we should have love and affection for other humanity. We should care about humanity,
Yeah, in
and have
general,
feelings
yeah.
for humanity, and not just politicize all of humanity. If we do that, we're just as bad as everybody else that has done it for 4 years ago or anything else. Don't be a douche. That's what I'm saying.
We're a community. We're, you know, how does.
Yeah, we got to live together.
Yeah.
But I can't
It's
help but
different if you got
wonder
100 people.
sometimes if, I mean, maybe this is just my brain, but I can't help but wonder sometimes if all this is just pure accident.
Well, and so
just
that's the conspiracy theory
Yeah.
in me is very bipartisan. I am a very bipartisan
Yeah, it's
conspiracy
like-
theorist
Yeah.
because I think the whole right, the Republican Democrat is way more of a farce than what most people think, and that there are people that are in control, and it's not necessarily a Republican or a Democrat.
No, I think a lot of
There is a
those
controlling party
Republican
out there.
Democratic
Agreed.
senators where the cameras are off. I think,
Oh yeah!
I think,
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
WWE.
It's WWE.
It's WWE.
It's all WWE.
Yeah.
Behind the curtain,
Behind the curtain, they're like, hey,
it's
don't
all
worry about it. Yeah,
but
it's
who's
fine.
playing the heel today? Who's
Yeah.
baby facing it
Yeah.
today? Who's
Yeah.
this? Who's that? And then they can flip whenever they want
And
to.
see, that makes me think like,
100%.
okay, so when the NTSB and they come out with all those reports and they say, well, this and that, and this is what was clearance was given and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't even know that I can believe all that.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
I
they're
don't know
going to
what
tell
to
you what
believe.
you want to hear.
That muscle definitely gets exercised whenever, like, okay, you see, you know, when I heard there was a second plane that went down, the first thing
Yeah.
that was, I was like, red flag right away.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh
Yeah.
no, what's happening?
Right.
You know, like, is this all this connected? Is this
And
another?
that plane was only in the air 30 seconds,
Yeah.
1,600 feet. And then that thing hit the ground like a rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, straight
Well,
down.
that
It had to-
helicopter went straight at it, though, huh?
Well, I'm talking about the one
the
last
other one?
night.
Oh,
The
I
one
got
last
you, I got
night.
you.
I mean, you
Can't
saw
keep
the
up with all
videos.
the
That thing
fucking plane
hit like a just nose
And
dive.
you know, the New Year's Eve stuff just happened. Like, where's all that been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't hear nothing about
No,
that.
the
Like,
guy that was supposedly ISIS.
what, like, hey man, are we gonna get attacked again? Like, were these connected? Like, where are we at on that?
don't know.
Like, can we get a DOGE for current events?
Y'all remember when we used to have drones?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
they talked
they talked about that.
They were like, don't worry about it.
They were ours. They were ours.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why didn't
They
we
were
just say that then?
They were
Biden.
ours, like as in U.S. military.
And then they
Yeah,
said
U.S. in general, but yeah.
And then they said like private.
Whose?
And-
Then they said private drone owners started getting involved because
Yep.
of all the attention.
Yep.
That was they took a very practical.
it was ours.
So why didn't we just say that?
Why
instead
couldn't
of
you have
everybody
said that?
freaking out for months at a time?
If that's true, like I don't know, I can tinfoil
Well,
hat
if
that
they
is
said
true.
these drones were like half as big as this room.
But also,
they were ours.
and if they are
were
ours,
ours.
what does that say? There was no heat signature on these things. There was all kinds of shit.
Yeah,
They're like,
which
oh,
brings
they're
up a lot
ours.
of
So can you?
questions.
Like, well, if they're
Can I go
ours, I got more questions.
Can we
Yeah.
go buy a drone that big?
Like a car-sized drone?
Yeah.
They were government drones. They were
Not yet.
like military government drones, the initial ones, and then everybody started getting drones and reporting it, and then it turned into this whole wild thing.
The 2028s will come out in 2027, late 2027.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, there is something that I want to talk about here before we
Cadillac
before we-
does, so just to put a bow on that, you can look up a Cadillac drone. I'll have to find it. It's a concept.
Oh, that's wild.
But it's Cadillac did one. It is
Yeah.
fly, and it's like a one-seater, and it's literally, it just looks like science fiction.
George Jetson, baby.
Boy,
Yeah.
yeah, it's dope. Anyways,
So we were killing a ton of time, and I really want to talk about this because I don't want this to get lost in the news cycle and get pushed to the back burner. I have a real problem with a pastor in Arizona.
Oh yeah,
I have a problem with this guy.
See, I don't know much about. I've just saw the headlines. So
Okay.
What did he do, Mark?
So Dale Partridge. I want to say this joker's name because I think you're an idiot.
Dale
Partridge. He's a father of 4.
dumbass.
Who is a pastor at Kingsway in Prescott, Arizona. It was in the jiu-jitsu news recently for a hot take that he had about girls and jiu-jitsu, which, Jeff, you have a very young daughter that trains jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. Kyle, you have 2 daughters that have trained jiu-jitsu.
Correct.
I have a 14-year-old daughter who has trained some jiu-jitsu
and wrestled.
Yeah. And I'm going to quote from his.
I also have a ton of female students as well.
Yes. Sure. So I'm going to quote from his post on X this past week. He says, "Parents, stop putting your daughters into jiu-jitsu and wrestling. You're letting 14-year-old boys grope, mount, and dominate your little girl. Yes, teach them self-defense, but do so with self-awareness and weapons training, not ground fighting." Was his hot take.
I'm more interested on that's your perception as you watch a grappling match.
Because he's never grappled, I'm sure.
Whatever. That's what you're thinking about?
Yes.
Like, that's how you see it, huh?
This is my problem with the ultra right-wing, super conservative Christians. They sexualize women to such an extent, and this guy, guarantee, believes that if a woman has a dress that's too short, deserve to be raped. I guarantee that's his belief. I guarantee that's what he thinks, that she asked for it. So it takes away any judgment or any what's the word I'm looking for? Blame for the man. The men get this big pass and for him. Right. And but his this hot take that don't put your daughters into jiu-jitsu or wrestling. I will tell you, just in that statement right here, you're an idiot, and I don't believe anything you say because you obviously don't have the mental capacity to think about and make a judgment call on anything and to look at jiu-jitsu or wrestling. And I get some people don't like their daughters grappling boys and wrestling boys. I understand that, but that's not the world we live in even now. It doesn't have to be that way. You know, there are outside of. Is that
you?
Okay.
I was trying to ignore it.
If you double click it, it stops. If you double click your lock button, it stops.
You were just like,
let's move along. Let's move along.
So, this guy is an absolute moron. And I would speculate as well that you don't have a clear understanding of violence either.
He doesn't.
You know? Weapons training is great if you got a weapon.
So are you going to take a weapon to school? Are you telling your daughter to take a weapon to school?
Can you take a weapon on a plane?
Can you take a weapon? Can you take a weapon into so many places?
Yeah.
Are you going to have a weapon when you're working out at the gym? Are you going to have a weapon there?
So I've take on that because I do have 2 daughters. One that my oldest, she only went to a couple fundamental classes and just didn't enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I
just
forgot you had a 16.
Yeah, she just
totally forgot.
She just doesn't want to train.
Well, both of mine, when they finally got into their teenage years, they didn't really train anymore.
Now Josie is 6, and Josie actually enjoys it. She wants to do it more. She's mad because she said her gi doesn't fit, so she's wanting me to buy her a new one.
Buy her a new one. What are you waiting
we're going to. We just
a pony.
Unicorn. She actually wants a unicorn.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
My point is that I think that is. So here's what I'm going to say, and I'm not by. Just hear me out. To think that what he just said doesn't exist is also not true, right? Does that happen in individual cases somewhere? Probably. It probably does. I mean, are there creeps out there who would take advantage of rolling with a female and getting a cheap touch or, getting their rocks off, are those guys out there?
Absolutely.
They're there,
100%.
right? You can't say those guys don't exist. Mm-hmm. But I think that for me, that's where, as a father, as a protective father, that's where my trust in the local gym and the coaches comes into play. Right?
Absolutely.
So when my little girl is out there on the mat training, I trust our kids coach, which is Simon. Mm-hmm. I trust Simon, right? And I'm giving him. My daughter is under his care, custody, and control.
That's right.
For that hour that she's on that mat. Mm-hmm. I feel like that if those coaches see something that they think is inappropriate, I have all the confidence in the world they're going to address that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right?
And our protocol, not only do they address it, whether it be an adults or a situation with a kid or anything, but they address it immediately. We don't wait. It gets addressed immediately, and then I'm informed immediately, and then I address it again, and
absolutely
accordingly.
And that's on the very appearance.
Yeah,
of
that's
there being
not
something.
even. Yeah, absolutely.
That's not there being something, and that's what a good piggyback off that, Jeff, is if there is something that is very inappropriate happening, inappropriate touching, that's still illegal. Mm-hmm. And they should be prosecuted for that. Mm-hmm. So why are we planning for that? He has a lot of other hot takes, and I want to run through them because I want everyone to understand how big of an idiot this guy is.
Yeah, let's hear him.
He said that 98% of ground fights between a grown man and a woman I don't know where he's getting his statistics, don't end well for the woman. The solution for her is not, quote unquote, grapple well. It's shoot, stab, or spray. So he is his only take in all this is women should not train to grapple, not train to understand anything. And this is where Henner Gracie, him and his wife did some really good videos a while back ago talking about how women could defend themselves in those situations where a man is trying to attack her sexually. And he does some they role play and go through some really good techniques and things that can be used. Mm-hmm. We've done women's self-defense classes here that can give them some really good tools to use.
I've worked with countless women that were in terrible situations at home, abusive husbands, things that were girls going off to college, fathers that want their kids to know a little bit more, and of course utilize a weapon. Right?
Yes.
It's not an either or.
Yeah,
it's everything
it's
above.
Not either or.
No, it's why are you taking tools off the table?
But if I can grab you and I can latch onto you and I have a blade, how much more dangerous am I?
That's exactly
If I can latch onto your carotid arteries and cut the blood off to your brain, not only is it more universal, but it's lethal. I can choose whether or not that joker lives or dies in this moment right now.
Do you want to know what else? Here's what else. It's also a huge statistical probability that if a woman introduces a gun to a fight, that she's going to have that gun used on her. She's not going to be able to use that gun. So then, by his same argument, should you just not have guns? Because it's going to fail.
There's no understanding of violence.
It's no understanding of anything.
He has no understanding of violence.
So, and then you have the people, the faceless Twitter, the faceless X gang, who comes along and just piggybacks on it. The troll troop who comes along and says, quote, or just don't allow your daughters to be in vulnerable situations and protect them like the head you should be. And don't let your daughters not live with you until they're married. What are you talking about? So you're supposed to keep your daughters, and he says agreed to that. So you're supposed to, Kyle, not let your daughter move out of your house until she's married and has a man to protect her.
Well, you know what? I did reach that goal, and it's just because I was a good father. Like, that does not mean that if my daughters it just means that because I raised them that way, and their mother was an influence on them in that way, and it just so happened to work out like that. Right? It wasn't planned. It just happened to be that way. She happened to find, her high school sweetheart and got married, right? if my daughter wants to go to college, or she gets an opportunity to see the world, or she gets and to be a strong, independent single woman for the next 15 years,
do not do
that is her prerogative.
Don't do
that
it.
is her. Yeah,
you shouldn't do it.
And so.
Because she can't survive without a man to protect her.
Yeah,
some other takes here that I want to read out loud that this guy agrees with. You are correct. They should not train with boys. Besides the sexual aspect, which is most definitely on the minds of young men in situations like that. One, you have no idea what you're talking about. You cannot think about something sexual when somebody's trying to rip your arm off. And he goes back to say, I digress. He goes back to say, and I quote this faceless person on Twitter, young men will be made weaker and less effective by training with girls. However, girls may certainly learn to defend themselves with jiu-jitsu or wrestling. Advocate for segregation of girls, not abolition. So he's trying to play both games. But then he's saying, men will be weaker.
Because the woman is stronger?
Because, men are going to be weaker by training with women because they're going to not train as hard.
It just doesn't make it. It's so stupid. It's so high. You are a moron. Okay, you know how empowered we have empowered so many young girls after strangling a boy till he cries over it. Man, that kid doesn't get weaker from it. He pulls his shit together and he realizes oh, that's the consequences if I get any human on my back.
Yes.
That's right. You want equality. There it is.
Partridge. Dale Partridge.
Chokes do not have a preference on whether you're male or female. Nope. They work regardless.
Nope. Very light pressure needed to choke somebody unconscious. Women can absolutely do it. Dale, we have women in our gym that would choke and dismember you if you got into a grappling contest or grappling fight, a fight in general.
Just a fight.
With some of the women that train in our gym, they would break your limbs, they would choke you unconscious, and could kill you if they wanted to.
And if you need context on why you wouldn't have your weapon with you, we can
lay it out
as well. Sir.
And listen, here's the thing: you may have it on you. If they get on your back before you understand it, if they have your neck before you have an opportunity, or they control you in that moment, you could still have your gun or your knife or your pepper spray, and they could still kill you.
Well, and not every situation is going to justify shooting someone at fucking 20 yards either. You're still getting charged for murder, whether it's justified or not. And if it's not, you're going to prison.
And it's another hot take that, because I want this guy it needs to be understood how much of an idiot he is. So in Turkey, you guys may or may not have heard, there was an OnlyFans creator in Turkey that was arrested for announcing that she had plans to sleep with 100 men in a day, which... Do I think it's a good idea? No. I think it's dumb.
That's not the blue.
It wasn't me.
No.
Oh, I didn't know what you were asking.
No.
Was that you?
No, it wasn't. What was the one that we talked about the other day?
Oh, Bonnie Blue.
It wasn't Bonnie Blue. It wasn't Bonnie Blue. It was some other, just an OnlyFans creator in Turkey. She's trying to make money, but Turkey is a Muslim country. And they arrested her for just announcing plans to sleep with 100 men in a single day. Okay, so they arrest her. It's dumb. It's stupid. Okay, I don't think that's smart, but she should be able to do that if she wants to. So Dale Partridge just comments to that underneath, tags that article and comments. It's sad when Muslims will punish evil that Christians won't. America must arrest these mega harlots on OnlyFans. They are poison to society.
Wow.
This is your take, Dale Partridge. You're an idiot. I am a very conservative Christian. I am conservative. I absolutely don't think that it's healthy mentally for women or men or anybody, OnlyFans and sex work. I don't think it's healthy. I think there are psychological detriments that will cause them issues throughout their life. That still doesn't mean that it's okay to treat them as a poison to society, or to call them mega harlots on OnlyFans and call for their arrest because their lifestyle is different than mine.
What happened to free will?
What happened to Christian love? What happened to what happened to the woman at the well in the Bible, Jeff? Who was
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Who was a prostitute, had slept with many men, and the man that she was with wasn't her husband. And Jesus asked her to get for her to get him a drink. He meets this woman. He knows who she is. He's God. He knows who she is. And he's like, hey, will you get me a drink of water? And she says to him, you shouldn't be asking, like she's putting herself in the lowest of the low. You shouldn't be asking me to get you a drink of water. If you knew who I was, you wouldn't do that. And he's like, I know who you are. And he told her, and he said, give me a drink, give me some water. And treated her like a human. And it's like, listen, I know that you're not who you're supposed to be. Go and sin no more. Go and live your life.
I think
the way
what's
that it's
important
supposed
about
to be.
that particular parable in the Bible is that people need to understand that Jesus he never condoned what she was doing. He didn't tell her that her lifestyle was okay. He didn't agree with her. He didn't say, hey, what you're doing is, you go do you, and you go live your life. That's not what he did. And I think sometimes we mix the two in this culture, in this world that we live in now, that we want to think that anything you do is accepted and okay. And if you want to do it, I got it.
Yeah.
That you can do whatever you want to do. That was not what Jesus did.
No, but he
also didn't imprison people.
He did not say that you must arrest. He didn't say to that woman at the well,
loved her.
hey, somebody come get this mega harlot over here and arrest her and take her to jail.
Hey,
that's asinine to me. That's wild to me.
He showed love and compassion to them at the same time, saying, hey,
you can be better. You can do better than this.
What you're doing is not right.
Yeah, you can do better than this.
Be different. Go change yourself. But
you're a moron.
He's just judgmental.
You have no idea.
He's lost it. He's lost it as a Christian. He's lost it as a man. To me, I
think you actually fear women.
I think he is afraid of women.
Closet gay.
I think he's afraid of anybody that's not just like him. It would not surprise me one little bit if in a year or a month from now that it comes out that Dale Partridge is having a homosexual relationship. It would not surprise me
with a tranny.
It would not surprise me if in a short period of time that Dale Partridge would be arrested in a pedophilia string, a sting operation rather. It would not surprise me any of those things because there is something fundamentally wrong with Dale Partridge and with what he thinks and the way he says. With what he says and puts out there as public. And if you attend Kingsway Church in Prescott, Arizona, if you attend that church and you call this man a pastor, you have lost your mind and you are just as guilty as what he is because you are subjecting yourself and your family to things that are blatantly untrue and against Scripture. So if he is your spiritual leader, you are being led astray, and you need to find yourself a new church and a new pastor that understands Scripture the way that it was intended and written was intended to be discerned by God and the way that it should be, not the way that this idiot, this charlatan who would stand up there every Sunday and give you his hot take and try to get clickbait views for his book, an anti-trans Christian book on however you feel. He is full of hate and spewing rhetoric to you, and you are being sold just like so many people. You need to find a new church. Kingsway doesn't deserve to be called a Christian church, and that's my tap out.
Damn. Well, yeah, Dale.
I'm not even going to cuss after that. I was going to do it, but just for funniness. But no. Yeah.
I guess I'll tap out with.
It's hard to follow that one.
Hard to follow.
Kind
of. But I think we can all be challenged, and I say this to myself because I can be very critical of other people that are not like me, and I think it's at times you have to remember that, ultimately we are not the judge. We are not the judge. That God is the ultimate judge. It is not our place to judge. Our place is to love other people and try to, maybe lead by example. But that doesn't mean that you can't point out something in someone's life that you think could be better, right? Or that you think they can change, or they could, you don't have to condone someone's bad behavior or someone's lifestyle. You don't have to condone it, right? You don't have to agree with it. But at the same time, it's not your place to judge. It's not your place to, you can't be judge, jury, and executioner. That's just not your place. Dale, Dale, you're living in a glass house, man. I mean, you got a big old plank in your own eye. So that's my theory is, I don't agree. There's a lot I don't agree with, but it ain't my place to judge. So that's my tap out. And hey, if you got a daughter, sign her up for jiu-jitsu.
Or wrestling.
And if you're in the local area, come to 728 Bankhead Highway and come to Integrity, because we got some of the best coaches. We got some of the best kids programs. It has been a game changer for my son and even my daughter. I mean, she's still young and kind of doesn't really know what's going on, but she loves it. And it is a confidence builder. It is a, it's not a miracle defense. I mean, it doesn't mean you still got to be smart in life. It doesn't make you a superhero, but it does give you an ability. It gives you a fighting chance.
It gives you another tool.
That's right. It gives you a fighting chance.
You need a tool belt and you need tools to go in it.
So yeah, come sign your kids up.
I'll piggyback right off of that. What's his last name? Dale. Partridge. That's right. Dale Partridge.
Like the bird.
To piggyback off of Hefe here. Yes, 728 Bankhead Highway. And as the CRJ, personal invite to debate you on this topic. Okay, we can. Absolutely. Obviously, I would assume you're probably not going to show up in person. If you did, that'd be great. You're all the way out in Arizona, so we could do it by Zoom. I'll tackle the jiu-jitsu side of it. Rev could actually do both. But obviously he's more of the religious scholar. And yeah, we're just,
what do I get?
Well, you get to do both too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you would have more. Yeah. You'd have a better.
I just get to make fun of him.
Yeah. Well, you get to ask questions. You're a great interview guy.
Okay, good.
Yeah. You can mediate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hefe mediates.
Come on, Dale.
Yeah, boom. So personal invite, we'll tag you in this and
we'll be respectful.
I want to hear you take.
We will be respectful.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
That depends on you, Dale.
Yeah.
Don't open doors you don't want to walk through, buddy.
Yeah. Actions have consequences. No. With that, we love you guys. We're out.